Hello my friends, welcome back. So, question, what's your power animal? If you could pick any animal, what animal would best describe your personality, or which animal would be your spirit guide? Are you the lone wolf of the steppe? Are you the mighty stag, monarch of the glen? Are you the wild hare running free under the moon? Are you, I don't know, maybe you're a unicorn? Me, clues in the name, I'm obviously a crow. So, what's your power animal? Let me know in the comments below, if you want. Before anyone tells me off, I'm sort of making this video as a bit of fun, really, but also to make a little bit of a point, a folkloric point. I have absolutely no intention in this YouTube channel of being political. This will just be a short video. I'll be back to telling folklore at the weekend. But this came to my attention recently, this idea of power animals, of spirit animals. And it's been there in the background. I've heard people say, oh, cultural appropriation, this, cultural appropriation, that. So, spirit animals, power animals, is even using this term, cultural appropriation, and if so, whom is culturally appropriating whom? Because the answer might surprise you. Of course, this is all just my own opinion, so if you disagree with any of this, or you've been triggered by any of this, or have a different point of view, do let me know, have a debate with me. I'm always interested to learn other points of view. So, this idea of cultural appropriation is not really a term I massively engage with. I think this is more of part of the discourse in the USA, and maybe to a lesser extent Canada, than it is here in Europe. But it is seeping over, like many cultural ideas, it is seeping over the pond. So, a recent example, I was invited to a party this weekend, and the theme originally was come dressed as your spirit animal. And a few people said, whoa, 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 we can't do that. This is culturally appropriating Native American culture and spirituality. So now I think they've changed it to just come dressed as an animal. Doesn't matter, I'm not going. But this got me thinking, because this has come up for me a few times, maybe on social media, people saying this is just another example of microaggression and cultural appropriation of Native American culture. Now, while I do think there is a wider point here, you know, Native American or First Nation peoples have been obviously marginalised since the beginning of colonialism and continue to do so, and that's something we should all be aware of and be careful of. But this particular idea of power animals, or spirit animals, the thing is, I don't know that that's a part of Native American beliefs and spirituality. It's not my expert field. I'm a folklorist. I'm quite good with Native American folklore, and this does intersect with spirituality because folklore does tend to, but I can't see anywhere in my knowledge and in my reading that spirit animals, in that way we commonly think of them in popular culture as being a sort of a spirit guide, or perhaps an aspect of the personal anima or animus, to use a Jungian term, some sort of spirit guide or helper that stands behind us. I don't know that that's part of Native American spirituality at all, actually. Again, if you're part of one of those communities or know someone who is and know better than me, please let me know. I'm interested to learn. But as I think, power animals or spirit animals come from this guy. This is Micheal Harner, who in the 80s wrote a book called The Way of the Shaman, and he's sort of the main guy with bringing shamanism to the popular understanding of the West, certainly as a form of practice. I suppose we would call it contemporary shamanism or neo shamanism. I've got to admit, I loved this book when I was sort of 19, 20, and when I read it now, it is a bit dated, and you know, you can argue that the culture that Micheal Harner kicked off with this book is arguably exploitative of indigenous cultures, mainly in the Amazon, though, Amazonian cultures rather than North American native spirituality. I still, in a way, love this book. I love the ayahuasca descriptions at the beginning. It was one of the first books that got me into using substances to experience other realities. And indeed, sometimes in ayahuasca experiences, you know, you do have encounters with animal and indeed many other types of discarnate entity. I'm not going to talk about that in this video, and if you're interested in that sort of thing, there's loads of things on YouTube. But yeah, the concept of a power animal and going on a shamanic journey to retrieve your power animal, as far as I can tell, this very much comes from Micheal Harner. It's sort of his personal take on Amazonian shamanism, quote unquote shamanism. I say quote unquote shamanism because some people also have a problem with the word shamanism because it's should be specific to Siberian shamanism, but I feel language evolves, and in the English language, shamanism is the best term we have for someone that deals with the other world, with discarnate entities, as an intermediary between that world and this world on the behalf of the community. So that's sort of what shaman means in the English language, irrespective of its original context. But power animals, spirit animals, if Micheal Harner is the main one who's popularized this term in the West, how has that, what culture is being appropriated here? So I've mentioned Amazonian spirituality. I don't know that it's part of Native American spirituality, as I've already said, but animals are part of the folklore. So, could be, Innu culture of the Labrador and Newfoundland peoples. We've got beaver and wolf appearing in stories. In the sort of dream time of Innu spirituality, animals can become humans, humans can become animals. That's just the way it was, Wolverine sort of created the world in some Innu legends. He's sort of, the animals are part of the spiritual fabric, and of course other parts of North America as well. On the Pacific Northwest we've got crow or raven, who steals the stars and the moon and the sun. We've also got coyote in different parts of America. So these different animal spirits, if you like, that are part of the they're part of the furniture, but they're not power animals as we usually understand the term. I'll tell you where we do get power animals though, or spirit animals in this kind of sense. It's not Native American folklore and spirituality, it's actually Celtic spirituality and folklore. So one example, we've probably all heard of the Knights of King Arthur. Most of these are medieval stories, but based on earlier Celtic folklore. If you look at some of the earlier written material, which is arguably the Welsh material in the Mabinogion and things like that, which in itself would have also been based on earlier oral tradition, the knights and even King Arthur himself have names of animals. There's animal powers lurking behind there. So King Arthur himself is often described as the Great Bear. Now this never actually happens in any written materials, but we just feel we're really close to the sort of maybe just sort of Arthur transforming into a bear in battle. He has the energy of a bear. So animal power in that sense. Gawain, Sir Gawain, in the original Welsh, Gawain's name is Gwelach Mai. That means the hawk of May. So there's probably a sense that there's something earlier happening here. In some of the very early stories, Gwelach Mai, he's almost like a solar deity, a minor solar deity. His power is tied up with the sun, which is of course symbolized by the hawk. So his power waxes when we go towards noon, and wanes as we go towards the evening. His power also waxes as we go towards the summer solstice, and then wanes again. It's this sort of Celtic cyclical idea. Gwelach Mai, the hawk of May. Morgana Le Fay, or the Morrigan in Irish mythology, the goddess of battle and death, she literally turns into a crow or a raven or a whole flock of crows. Taliesin, the Welsh bard and magician, if you like, Taliesin, changes his form into a salmon, into a hare, into a sparrow. If you want to hear this story, I've told it on this channel before. I'll put a link to it at the end. So lots of examples in Celtic folklore. There's an old Irish story about a druid who remembers his past lives for many, many, many eons as a wolf, and before that he was a deer, and before that he was a salmon. This may also be a remnant in Celtic folklore of the ancient Celtic belief in reincarnation, but also a sense of animal spirit there, this animal energy dwelling behind a human. So perhaps a resonance there with native Celtic shamanism and Native American spirituality. Because there's quite often a lot of similarities between Celtic and Native American spirituality, I find, in my opinion. So if we're looking for this idea of spirit animals, it's kind of there in Celtic folklore, way before Micheal Harner culturally appropriated it from wherever he got the idea from. I think Brazilian or Amazonian shamanism. So if someone accuses you of cultural appropriation, if you use the term spirit animal, then, you know, maybe point to your Celtic heritage, if indeed you do have it. Or maybe just let's not take ourselves quite so seriously. But of course, as well, you know, don't be... You know, no one wants to be that guy at a party. It's like, my spirit animal is, you know, a unicorn or Justin Bieber or an Oreo. Be respectful. Be respectful to these communities. But there's such a thing as cultural appreciation without cultural appropriation. Anyway, that's my small rant for today. At the weekend, I'll be having some more storytelling from the oral tradition for you guys. Funnily enough, it's about a man who, in truth, is a hawk. In the meantime, if you haven't heard my story, Taliesin, I will put a link to it right now. It's it has some of these ideas in native Celtic thought about reincarnation, but also shape-shifting into animal form. So I'll put a link to it right now. Thank you very much, my friends. And as always, if you disagree with anything I've said, then let me know in the comments. You know, come back at me. I'm always interested to learn. And if you like content on folklore and mythology and storytelling in the oral tradition, please give this video a like and a subscribe. And now I will play the video Taliesin of the Shining Brow. Thank you very much.